Hello YouTube people, in today's video I'll review a beautiful watch from WatchDives called WD0013. This video is sponsored by AliExpress. AliExpress gave me a budget which I was free to spend on whatever I want, and this is one of those watches that I bought. Thank you AliExpress. Technical specifications and measurements which I have done myself. I took my time and measured everything carefully. So the weight of this watch together with the bracelet sized up for me is 107 grams. The size of my wrist is 16.5 centimeters or 6.5 inches. Diameter of the case diagonally, if I measure like that, I get 38.7 millimeters. Diameter of the case, if I measure like that, excluding the crown, I get 40.9 millimeters. Bezel, side to side, is 37 millimeters. Bezel diagonally like that is 38.5. Now, lug to lug distance, the case itself right there is 42.6 millimeters. Thickness of the case is just 7.8 millimeters. Now lug width is, if you care about that, this little portion, lug width is around 11.8 millimeters. And bracelet starts from 23.8 millimeters and tapers down to 16 millimeters. The thickness of the bracelet is around 3 millimeters. The thickness of the clasp in the thickest place is 6.6 millimeters, so it's a rather slim clasp as for a butterfly clasp. Diameter of the crown is 4.9 millimeters. Now, interesting little measurement is this side of the case which is sticking out. So the thickness of this side right there is 3.9 millimeters. And this watch does have sapphire crystal. I have tested and got positive reading. Now inside this watch has Swiss Ronda movement 714, and according to the internet, usually battery should last up to 5 years, and if it has extended life battery it should last around 6.5 years. What else? Now, the biggest wrist this watch could accommodate when the bracelet is full size, according to WatchDives, is 18.5 centimeters or 7.3 inches. And the accuracy of this movement, according to the internet, is -10 + 20 seconds. Now, one very interesting specification about this watch is water resistance. You know, usually you get water resistance of like 50 meters, 100 meters, something like that. But water resistance rating for this watch is exactly 80 meters. So I find it to be a little bit unusual. It's rather interesting. And another thing that I would like to point out, multiple ways to measure this watch. But the simple question is how large this watch actually looks like in person. And I must say that the size, visual size, I would say it's around 37-38 millimeters. You should consider this watch as around 37.5 millimeters in diameter, okay? And speaking about thickness, even though technical thickness is 7.8, but I would say visually this watch actually looks slimmer like that. If I would have to just, guess with my fresh eyes, I would say, oh, this watch is probably slimmer than 7 millimeters. So that's very nice. Lume on this watch is dark blue in color and intensity is the same on hands and indices, and it doesn't appear to be very strong because those indices and hands are rather narrow, so there isn't much of it, but the Lume itself is actually good quality. It does last till the morning, no problem. I have tried this watch throughout several nights and I never had a trouble telling the time in the morning. So it doesn't look exciting, but it does the job fairly well. To resize this bracelet for my 16.5 centimeter wrist or 6.5 inches wrist, I had to remove 6 full-size links, as you can see, and links are connected with screws which look like this screw, as you can see. Okay, and let's see how many links there is still left on the bracelet. So on this side I can still remove one full size link, and on this side I can remove one full size link and one half link. So yeah, just one half link was included in the packaging. And according to WatchDives, when the bracelet is full size, it should fit up to 18.5 centimeter wrist or 7.3 inches wrist as a maximum. How is the quality of this bracelet? And I must tell you that this is one of the best feeling and looking bracelets that I have ever had. It truly surprised me. I haven't expected it to be this good, and it is just flawless, simply flawless. I can't really point to any single bad thing speaking about this bracelet. Now, most importantly, how it feels like. It's very, very nice. There is no sharpness on this bracelet or the clasp whatsoever. Even on camera you can see that all edges and corners are very nicely rounded up. This is a perfect example of how a bracelet should feel like, you know. That's for me very important. Now, another thing, usually when a watch has integrated bracelet, they tend to have some kind of excessive gaps between the bracelet and the case, or some extra stupid connections. No, with this everything seems perfect. The gaps are all even. The gap between the case and a bracelet is not excessive, it's actually very nice. Even the thickness transitions from the case to the bracelet very nicely. Everything looks very fluid, very organic, I should say. When the watch is sitting on my wrist, let me show you, like that, and you look at that transition between the case and the bracelet, it's seamless. It's very, very nicely done. Now, regarding the quality, visual quality, you know, the polishing, the brushing and whatever, I'll let you to be the judge of that. I am not really an expert in those things, and all I can see is everything looks nice. I can't really complain about anything. So those links have vertical brushing, as you can see, and middle portions are like mirror finished. Polishing, at least according to my eyes, looks very, very nice. You can see the reflection of my camera right now in the polished part of the link. It's like, what else could you want, really? And I like that those edges, you know, these edges are also slightly polished out. Well, not slightly, but they are polished out. The very edge and corners around the top, man. And this thing is just nice to play around with fingers like that. It's some kind of fidgeting toy. Sometimes you can just take it off and just like, yeah, play a little bit with this watch. That's just how nice it is. Now, the clasp. Let me show you the clasp. It's just a simple butterfly clasp, but I must tell you that also no sharp edges. Everything seems nicely done. Even these edges on the inside, they are fine. They are not sharp, unusually. So, and the thickness of this clasp right there is 6.6 millimeters. I don't know if that is telling you anything, but it's not thick. It's actually not bad, towards the slimmer side of things. So the connection of this clasp, as you can see, there is no excessive gap. Everything is nice. By the way, speaking about the bracelet, I know you want to know how is the articulation. So articulation is very, very fluid. Nothing is getting stuck. Nothing is getting jammed. It's a very organic feeling bracelet, I must say, very fluid. It's like it bends this much. That's it. I can't bend it more than that. So when I lock it in place like that, it has a little bit of stiffness like that. That's it. I can't push it anymore like that. But because of that, you know, it forms this very nice oval shape. And when this watch is sitting on my wrist, it feels just perfect. It feels like this watch was made for my wrist. That's how good it feels like. So it's very good. Now, side to side flexibility, if you care about that, it moves this much. What does that mean? I don't know, but if you want to know, this is how much it moves side to side. So this butterfly clasp also just locks in place very nicely. no free play. It's like, well, there is a little bit, I can provoke a little bit of a free play, but I mean, everything seems and looks very nicely, very precisely made. It's very well made item. Now let's take a look at the finishing of the case, and there is really not much to tell you. It's just, I'll just show you all around how it looks like. I'll give you the best view I can possibly give you, so you can be the judge of how it looks like. From my point of view, I like very much how slim it is and how slim it actually looks like. When this watch is on the wrist, it actually looks slimmer than millimeters suggest. Millimeters in thickness is 7.8, but this watch sits like a pancake on my wrist. It just thickness basically disappears. It appears as if it was like 5 millimeters in thickness, of something like that. It definitely doesn't look thicker than 7 millimeters. Visually looking at this watch when it is sitting on my wrist, that's impressive. I really like that, and that makes this watch. This is one of the reasons why this watch feels and looks special. So this actual thickness and visual thickness. So speaking about visual thickness, I would also like to point out that this side profile, this thing that is sticking out, is just 3.9 millimeters in thickness. So when this watch is sitting on the wrist, you mostly see this thing as a measurement of thickness, you could say, okay? And it is just 3.9 millimeters. So it does really appear rather slim. Anyway, let me show you all around how this thing looks like. So starting with the bezel. Bezel is vertically brushed. I hope you can see. Sides are polished out, and I really like those edges right there. It's not like very, rounded. It has some form factor. It has some edges, as you can see in this reflection. Yeah, you can see in this reflection the bezel, it has those edges, and I kind of like that. It's a little bit more angular than rounded. So the polishing, I don't know, I can't be a judge of things like that, but to my eyes it seems flawless. I can't really complain about that. And the base of the case, the top of the case, is also vertically brushed, just like the bezel. Sides, well, if camera can focus, as you can see, yeah, everything seems and is very nicely done. So the case back is very simple. There is nothing really to see there. Let me give you a good look at the case back. Plenty of space for engravings if you're buying this watch as a gift, So it feels nice. There is nothing. It's very smooth, actually. This thing feels very smooth. So the only place where I found that this watch could potentially be a little bit improved is bottom edges on the case right there. These edges and on the side as well. They are a little bit sharpish, Everything all around is very nicely rounded up, except these little edges, If I would try to scratch a plastic pen into those corners, I could easily actually do that. Well, actually, you know what? Let me do that. It's, hold on a second here. So as you can see, I can grind this piece of plastic very easily into these corners. But the thing is, when you take this watch into your hands, you handle all around, usually don't even encounter those bottom edges right there. They are actually kind of hidden, you could say. They are a little bit inverted inwards, and you don't normally really touch them. And when the watch is sitting on the wrist, also I don't feel them at all, because, well, they're just not digging into my skin. They are not even, it doesn't feel like they're even touching my wrist, those sharp edges. So anyway, just a little thing that could potentially be improved, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. Besides that, it all looks just simply flawless. By the way, I haven't showed you the crown. The crown. How is the crown? The crown is 4.9 millimeters in diameter. That's how it looks like. It has this WatchDives logo engraving, and it is a screw down crown. Let me actually unscrew it, pop it out, and as you can probably tell, you see there is a screw, so push it in and keep pushing in while screwing it. That's it. Actually, grippy crown, small crown, but it's grippy crown, not difficult to use. So anyway, that's the view all around. By the way, sorry for making this video this long, but I know that many people care very much about this watch for some reason. Well, for some reason, it's a very beautiful watch, understandable. So I take my time. I want to give you the best look possible. You know, if it's a bit boring, you can always skip boring parts and use chapters in the video to see, you know, only those chapters that you're actually interested in. Simple as that. My job is just give you the best look all around that I can. Now let's do quality control testing of the crown. So let's unscrew the crown and let's see the alignment of hands first, and later we see how far from the midnight it is going to flip the date. So first of all, let's set on exactly 6 like that, and hands are sitting straight and nice. So alignment seems to be good. Now how far from the midnight it is going to flip the date. By the way, interesting thing is that until 11 p.m. date doesn't move yet. So it's 11 p.m. and date just now actually, well, just basically 20 past 11 starts moving. So that's nice. That's not a quick date flip, but not far off, you know. So the test. Oh, well, it flips 5 minutes away from midnight. Not perfect result, but not bad either. And, you know, for good measurement, let's do that again. Let's do it twice. Okay, so, okay, 11 p.m. and 11:20 when the date starts moving. And it should flip around 5 minutes before midnight, right? Well, 4 minutes. Actually, a respectable result. Nothing really to complain about. Now, regarding quality control, the crown feels fine, screws down in place, no problems. I haven't found any dust particles underneath the sapphire crystal, and everything seems to be well aligned. Let's take a better look at the dial, and let me point out several things that I like very, very much. First of all is the black contour of indices and hands, even though you might take it for a given, you know, but the default usually is silver, and I think black contours look a lot better than they would with a silver contours. So that's my subjective opinion, but I think it stands out in a very nice way. Another thing which stands out in a very nice way is how slim, how minimal is the rehaut, the sidewall inside the watch. How close are those hands next to the crystal? It's beautiful. It's very nicely done. It's like, looks like a very nice achievement, you know. Not only the watch itself is super slim according to the standards from AliExpress, you know, very nice achievement. But also, look, those hands are basically touching the crystal. That's awesome. It looks really good. It looks really special because of that. Another thing which I like very much is WatchDives logo. I think the logo is very beautiful, and I like that it is applied instead of being just printed on. So the logo on this watch looks really good. Really good. And I like that the bottom of the dial doesn't have any text like water resistance, quartz, whatever. That would probably cheapen the look. Now, because it doesn't have any text on the bottom of the dial, it looks a little bit more premium because of this purposeful cleanliness, I would say. It looks good. Now, the color of this dial is, you know, would I buy this color again? Look, if I would buy this watch for myself, not for the video, I would go for the white. The reason is because, well, I'm just a simple, boring, very introverted person, and exciting colors like this mint, I think that just don't fit me as a person. That's the thing. But for the color, I think this is very, very beautiful color, rather exciting and striking, yet lovely because it has very strong feminine flavor, in my opinion. So if you wanna get a little bit better look of this color, how it actually looks like, check out the very end of the video where I'll show you how it looks like outdoors in a natural light, so you'll see the best how this color actually looks like. How is the anti-reflective coating on this crystal? I can't really complain. As you will see at the very end of the video how this watch looks in a natural daylight, I haven't really had any problems with this crystal blowing out. As you can see right now, directly in front of the studio light, it's still very well controlled, very well controlled. So I would say the anti-reflective coating is actually decent on this crystal, according to my experience, that is. So yeah, that's the dial. It's beautiful and very exciting color. So there isn't really much left to tell you at the end of the video. It's rather obvious that I would actually recommend buying this watch. I'm quite impressed by the quality of this watch as an item. I really respect that, and not only just the looks of this watch makes me feel excited about this watch, but also the finishing quality, how this thing is made. It's really awesome. It's really surprising, and probably closest thing that I could compare to this watch is Tissot PRX that I had. You can find video on my channel about Tissot PRX that I had, and I must say that the quality of this watch is so much better than Tissot PRX. It's not even comparable. Like, this watch is not just one level above Tissot PRX, it's just completely different league. It's entirely different league in terms of a finishing quality compared to Tissot PRX. So the fact that you can buy this watch for around 100 whatever, 150, how much is it right now? I don't even know, 120, 150 euros, and get way better quality watch than Tissot PRX is just incredible, absolutely incredible. The slimliness, the lack of sharp edges, the connection between case and the bracelet, how everything looks seamless and just organic and fluid. It's just, my gosh, this thing is truly exciting, not just by the looks, but by the finishing quality as well. Well done, WatchDives, well done. Very nice watch. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.